This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. We made it. It's Friday, June 26th. I'm here with Sam. We did it.
I'm so happy it's Friday.
I am too. And usually I don't really care and I kind of get the days confused.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like it was a heavy one. For me, I feel like for America.
I think so too. I think, listen, our country is dealing with so much right now, whether it be everything with the racial injustices or whether it be coronavirus. And I think, everybody has the right to say, I need to just exhale and enjoy my family or friends. Yeah. And I think we're kind of like in that same boat right now.
It gives you some perspective on just whatever I have, small or
gratitude.
Big. I'm very happy for my family. I'm very happy for what I have. It's not that I'm not sympathetic to what's going on, but I think all of America is feeling this weight.
Yep.
And speaking of that, I don't know why
Speaking
that transition went, but
whoa.
Brandon, the heavyweight hitter.
There you go.
There
you saved it.
I saved it. Brings us in.
Okay.
Brandon, are you feeling that weight for nothing specific, just in general?
Well, I weighed in at 233 pounds yesterday, Jeff. So yes, I am feeling that quarantine weight. But the weight you're talking about, yeah, honestly, yes, Jeff. I've been very open on my social media talking about where my headspace went and how I was kind of ashamed of myself to allow my headspace to get into a funk with the things that have happened all over throughout the course of 2020. But you know what? When you sit back and you realize and you reflect and you look at the positives in your life, even with everything going crazy, because the world's going to keep turning, the world's going to keep going. When you sit and you look back at the positives, it really puts you in a completely better perspective and gives you a better perspective of not only your life but what's going on as well. So self-reflection has really helped out for me, and I'm sorry to take up all this
Beautifully
time.
Said.
I think it's important.
Please have a great weekend.
No, this was not even planned at all. I think it's just something that everyone's feeling naturally. You said exactly what I was feeling. You said exactly what I was feeling. But along with my family, I'm thankful for this job. I'm thankful for you guys in my life. I'm thankful for people who put this show together. You do, Brandon. You have to look at the positives in life and not let social media and other things kind of bring you down, even though you do want to help.
Absolutely, man. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thanking for the universe, because you get in touch with that. You're thankful for friends. You're just thankful for conversation with people through Zoom, being able to be connected with friends in Europe and internationally and all. So you're sitting down and really self-reflecting and looking at whatever silver lining or positive you can take out of this pandemic and everything that's going on. That in itself is a blessing, and I think people should strive for that.
I agree. It can be life-saving.
We got a show to do, but that was very good.
I think we all needed it. Yeah.
That felt very good.
Yeah.
This is like just you guys us FaceTiming with us. That's it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the show. I'll button it up. A new docuseries on Facebook Watch looks at Paris Jackson's life, growing up with her famous father, Michael Jackson, in the public eye. Let's watch.
What does Paris want to be?
I do what you do.
What do I do?
You dance and sing.
That's what you want to do?
You see a kid grow up in the public eye. You forget that I am a human. I was against letting the world in because it wasn't a choice. I wasn't ready then. I feel like I'm ready now.
And the 6-part series called Unfilter also examines the pressures Paris felt to follow in her dad's footsteps and shows Paris and her boyfriend performing gigs as they launch their folk band, The Sunflowers. The docuseries begins on June 30th. What a great series. I mean, I didn't even think I'd be interested in that until I just saw that. I go, I'm super interested in that.
I've always had so much empathy for Paris Jackson, considering not only that she grew up in the public eye, but underneath all the scrutiny from her father and the allegations. And she is her own person, but unfortunately some people have globbed her into all of that.
Right.
And she herself has received death threats. She herself has not been allowed opportunities because she wants to act, she wants to perform, she wants to have a band, and people will not go see her or hear her because she's attached to that controversy. And that's not fair. She's her own person. But she did say, and I love this, speaking of the positive, Brandon and Jeff, is she believes that everything that she has gone through has been cathartic and made her music that much more substantive because of what she's gone through.
You got to go through the bad to get to the good.
Yes.
That's universal for everybody's life, and it makes you who the person you are. Brandon, speaking of pressures, and I don't think it was pressure, but you had a dad who was a coach, and you played football, and you lived up to those expectations.
Yeah, that was more of a blessing than I would think of it as pressure, honestly, you know. Because if you look at it, the things I was allowed to do, that behind the scenes that Paris is going to show with her father, a life that, you know, I can't compare being on NCAA sidelines compared to being, Michael Jackson's daughter, what she was awarded to see as a kid. You know, it's hard to compare that, but you get love from that father in any way, regardless of what you do. But I didn't think of it as pressure. It was more of a blessing because I got to see behind the scenes what I was trying to get to, what I wanted to do in life. So I had someone who pushed me, but also respected and loved me as well. And that's what made me go harder. Not the pressure of it, but knowing that I had my father's blessing to go after that dream.
Yeah, and you're right, man. I don't think there is any comparison to Michael Jackson. I think if you look throughout history, he was the biggest star on the planet at one point, you know, but
and not to say my dad's not a big star or anything, you know, he's a big star. He's not Michael Jackson's star.
The London documentary comes out 2021, if you guys want to.
There we go.
Speaking of documentaries, Olympic swimmer Ryan Lochte has a new one. Let's take a look at that.
I went from making millions to zero. The person that I am today, if I saw that Ryan Lochte, I would knock his out. There's so much more to life. To wake up. This is the most pressure I've ever had in my entire life.
In Deep with Ryan Lochte dives into the scandal at the 2016 Rio Olympics where he was caught lying about being attacked by armed robbers. He lost millions of dollars, as he said, in sponsorships afterwards, but now he's attempting a comeback. We get to watch him try and qualify for the Tokyo Olympics, which were postponed due to the virus. The doc premieres on NBC's Peacock streaming service on July 15th. It's weird how we started this show and all about like you have to look back and you have to fail to make it. This is exactly what we're talking about, Sam.
Yeah, it is. And you brought up pressure too, and so did Brandon. And listen, he feels like Ryan Lochte, and this is coming from someone that swam with Ryan Lochte, not entirely knew him, but knew of him, and we have similar colleagues. I think Ryan Lochte, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, and what he did was egregious. Not only did it cause a lot of criticism within the Olympic community, and of course he had to pay for it dearly, but also within the economy right there in Rio. I mean, he cost that neighborhood and that area lots of economic dollars because of the way that he branded what happened to him. So that said, he has 2 kids now. He's married. 4 years post all of that. He's done a lot of self-reflection. And Olympic athletes, they are really hard on themselves. So I believe that same discipline that he applied in the pool, he's applying that to himself right now, and I believe that he is a changed person, and I'm rooting for him in Tokyo. I want to see him get another Olympic medal. This is a 6-time gold medalist that we're talking about here. So hopefully this is a comeback that he's willing to earn, as Erica Cobb always says.
Absolutely, and Brandon, I don't know what it is with this culture now. They want to look into your past, and this hits really close to home for me. I'll talk about it openly. Listen, I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I think if I talked to somebody in high school, they wouldn't even know who I was. And I know, Brandon, just talking to you, we've had these conversations, who you were those rookie years in NFL and who you are now. I mean, it's like, I don't know why people want to hold people down instead of learning and growing.
And I think the difference with that, Jeff, is that the things that we went through, the moments that look bad on us that we had to grow through, didn't happen in such a public eye, like doing that in an Olympic setting, you know, during the Olympics, you know. So we're fortunate, and the ones like us who mess up, but it doesn't get out there in terms of you're going to get canceled right away. We're fortunate in the sense that we were able to go through whatever it is we had to go through and learn from it, and then come back kind of like in the public eye. But when you do something like he did, he really had to pay his debt to society in a way in which you say he lost. You hear him say he lost all that money. It's time to let him wipe his slate clean and let him get back in the pool and does what he needs to do, and that's compete.
This was one of the most cathartic first halves we've ever had.
Right?
What a
I have so much
day.
more respect
What a
for people that actually fall and then pick themselves back up. So at the end of all this, I'll have more respect for Ryan Lochte if he can come out of this.
Listen,
so
we missed a couple stories. I'm sorry, but I think the conversation was great. If you relate, great. If not,
what are you going to do?
what are you going to do? It's Friday. Brandon, stick around. Coming up on DBL, we're talking all about love. The COVID crisis in putting relationships on the fast track. I don't think I read that right because it doesn't even make sense to me. And as we wrap up another week, we couldn't have done it without our DBL staffers working from home during this pandemic. We love you guys.
Closed cap.
Welcome back to DBL. It looks like some relationships are being put on the fast track in the age of love and the coronavirus. A new report out of the UK found that being in lockdown has caused so-called turbo relationships to form, with many couples deciding to move in together right away. More than a third of these couples say the past 2 months have felt like 2 years, and over 60% say they want to be with their pandemic partner forever.
Wow, this is like putting a relationship on the fast track. If there were cameras, this would be the reality show to watch, because you can only imagine when you first move in with someone, you have to learn a lot of compromise, and then you learn really quickly whether or not that relationship is going to make it or break it. These are new relationships that are on the turbo course, and I would love to watch it.
Well, that's Big Brother. That's true. Big Brother. When coronavirus started, I said, everyone's playing Big Brother now, because now they're trapped in their own house. Me and my wife met that way, so it worked for us. We had a turbo relationship. It really does put it on the fast track. Brandon, would you be down for some turbo love?
Oh, I love hearing this.
On national TV, absolutely. And in fact, I'd love to do The Bachelor, or I'd do a reality show like that. But look, here's one thing we've seen a rise in, and this is scientific study through the science of B. London. We've seen a rise in like quarantine flings turn into actual relationships, because now it's like if it was a fling, you usually leave the next morning or the after after that night, now you're quarantining and you're hanging out with someone for an extended period of time, which is allowing you to really get to know them other than the whole planet Earth and chill thing. And it turns into a full relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
This
listen,
is science,
exhausting.
Sam. This is science. This is
I
science.
hear you. You've been, hey, like we said, you're dropping knowledge today, but it sounds exhausting. I'm glad I don't have to open up that dating pool.
Did you come to like a breaking point at some point? I mean, you had to,
With
right?
Mark during quarantine?
With your husband?
Yeah, and I was on maternity leave. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I like hid in the car a few times. There's nowhere to hide in my house.
I forgot about all that other stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yes.
tough.
It's rough.
It is. It's rough for everybody. But I always think about this, Brandon. It's rough for us. We're married. We both have 2 kids. It's got to be rough being single and being alone, right? Are you enjoying it?
No, Jeff. Like I've been so lonely. It's unreal. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you think of it like I'm really not that good of company. That's what I've learned. Like I'm sitting here like what's the thing from The Hobbit when I'm sitting there talking to myself like Precious needs to go
Schmeagol?
eat. Precious needs to go hang out. I'm going crazy.
You got a Schmeagol living
From
with
Lord
you?
of the Rings. Got it.
Oh yeah.
What's your Schmeagol's name?
I didn't know that's what that was called. I was just.
I want you to work on what his name is during the break.
We had like 10 seconds. I just. Okay.
I know. We're just filling time. I want you to work on what your Schmeagol is.
Or a football, like the volleyball with Tom Hanks. He could put he could put a face on a football. There you go. There you go. That's your
there you
Wilson.
go.
Start talking to the football, Brandon.
Give it a hug.
Hello, Brandon.
Hug it. I can't believe this is on TV. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Welcome back to DBL. Author of I'll Be Gone in the Dark, Michelle McNamara was obsessed with revealing the identity of the Golden State Killer, a serial rapist and murderer in California in the 70s and 80s, in case you did not know. Michelle sadly passed away before her book was finished, but her husband, Patton Oswalt, vowed to publish it, and he did. Now HBO is turning it into a 6-part series. Earlier, I sat down with Patton Oswalt and the director, Liz Garbus. Take a look.
You'd heard of Zodiac Killer. You'd heard of Son of Sam. The Golden State Killer is one of the most prolific, violent, serial rapists, and eventually a murderer.
Patton Oswalt and Liz Garbus, thank you so much for joining us here on Daily Blast Live.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, Michelle's book is widely credited for renewing interest in the Golden State Killer case. Do you think Joseph James D'Angelo would have been caught otherwise?
I mean, I don't know if he would have been caught without her naming him the Golden State Killer. And I'm only saying that based on what other police have told me, which is, you know, one of the reasons cases go cold, and this is a morbid reason, but sometimes the killers are not given cool, memorable names. And she came up with the name, the Golden State Killer, and all of her research and activity around it made this cold case warm again.
So Patton, sticking right on that, you helped finish this book. You created this series with the help of Liz, of course, and many other people, I'm sure. Was this a difficult process for you?
Well, of course. I mean, I had to, you know, to get the book done, I had to hand all the material over to, you know, 2 other writers because I couldn't look at any of this stuff objectively. It was still too emotional, and especially with the documentary.
Now, instead of glorifying the criminals in I'll Be Gone in the Dark, Liz, it centers around the survivors. How important was it for you to let the survivors tell their own story?
It was super important. You know, I wanted to resist the kind of trope of this all-powerful serial killer, oh my God, mastermind, and instead, you know, center the stories of the survivors who, frankly, have just incredible strength and stories to tell. In the filmmaking process, we really wanted to honor that and echo that approach.
Going off script here a little bit, watching the first 2 episodes, you know what really jumped off the screen for me was that the women and what society was going through at that time, they were almost blamed for having the killer rape them. I mean, it was so apparent in those first 2 episodes that it's crazy to think back that's how society was.
Well, unfortunately, it's still that way a lot of times now. I mean, we've evolved. I don't think we've evolved as far as we should have. I think it was just more blatant back then.
So filming had just begun when news of D'Angelo's arrest broke. What was that like?
It was crazy because, you know, we had just started filming. It was our first night, and we had just met Michelle's family. We were in Chicago, and hearing that news with them was so heavy and emotional. It was mind-blowing, and of course, it's amazing that they've put a name to this unknown killer.
D'Angelo's is expected to plead guilty the day after the show premieres. So Liz, how do the survivors feel about this, and do they have a sense of closure with this all?
You know, I certainly can't speak for all the survivors. Of course, there are way too many. I will say from some of the people we know whose counts weren't included in the original charges because of statute of limitations on rape cases or, you know, DNA evidence that was lacking, that for them, if he pleads guilty to their rapes as well, that's really important that those cases be counted.
Patton and Liz, really thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. I'll Be Gone in the Dark premieres June 28th on HBO. It's also available for streaming on HBO Max. Guys, I can't thank you enough. Best of luck to you in the future, and the series is going to be a smash hit. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one, guys. We'll be right back, everybody.
Promotion.
Welcome back to DBL. Travel is looking a lot different these days. More people are going glamping. Uh-oh, Sam just lit up. We're chatting about it in today's DBL Drive, sponsored by CarShield. Now, Forbes magazine says glamping is surging in popularity because it's the perfect opportunity for a mini getaway. Look at that.
Wow.
While social distancing. If you didn't know, glamping is staying in a remote area that feels like camping, only you're staying inside a yurt or a tiny home. That doesn't look like camping to me. When it comes to travel, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with CarShield. CarShield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
Sign me up.
That looked really nice.
Dude, I mean, I've been camping with you. We did it for the show, and let me tell you, Tori and I were frozen. My tear ducts froze. It was below 32 degrees. We didn't close our tent right. Give me a yurt.
I'll give it to you. You guys went out there, you did the real camping, so you deserve like a glamping.
Yes, we do.
You do. But then now you're going to appreciate it more because you did the real camping.
Give me
That's the message of today's show.
Yes.
Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time.